Hi, I'm Dara, and this is A Right Way. And okay, this is something that a lot of people don't like to talk about or think about, which is rewriting. And everyone has probably heard that famous quote, writing is rewriting. And sometimes it's heartbreaking, to be completely honest. I mean, the rewriting process can be just as intense, if not more so, than just coming up with the first draft. And there are a couple of things that you can do to help your rewriting process. But for me personally, the key is to try to make that first version, at least your first rewrite, as close to your heart and the story you want to tell as possible before you get input from others. So by all means, you should be doing the very first pass on the rewrite before sharing it with anybody else. And oftentimes it's helpful to finish your script and give it some time to quote unquote breathe, come back to it in a few weeks with fresh eyes to look at it and see what's working and what's not working before you dive into the details of the rewrite. And sometimes the rewriting process can be, like I said, tedious and stressful, but there are moments where you find that, okay, this actually did elevate the story more. I'm so glad that I went back into that and didn't just keep going with the original draft. So let's dive into the process and take a look at our script together. I'm gonna share my screen. Okay, so I have the script open, and this is the script that is the short about the senior citizens, and I want to find a way to go back in and elevate this. And this is only 2 pages, or really just a page and change, but there's a lot of things that we can do to make it better. So we're going to start off with the very first scene. We have fade in senior citizens home day. Why don't we give it a little more flavor in the beginning to draw our audiences in, if we can come up with some more visuals that really bring us into this moment. So a brick building on a city block is a pretty basic description. Is this a newer building, an older building? Is this one of the fancy senior buildings, or is it more like, of the basic ones? Like, we need to kind of find a way to bring audiences in. So I'm thinking that a brick building on a city block that mimics a luxury condo. So that brings us into an elevated senior living experience. And seniors chat and laugh amongst themselves. Let's kind of play around with that a little bit. Sometimes I like to use different types of language to bring us into the story. So let's say a handful of seniors sit on benches and shoot the breeze. So that's a little more flavor than just them laughing and chatting amongst themselves, even though it's describing the same kind of activity, but I'm using shoot the breeze instead of laugh and chat amongst themselves. So now we have two things that bring us into the story more. You could even name the senior building if you wanted to continue to elevate the story and paint the picture, but we're going to just move on. So interior, senior citizens home, main hall day, bright room with plenty of decorations on the walls. Seniors sit at various tables in a grown-up version of high school cafeteria, social dynamics. We'll find a better way to phrase that. But since this is a love story, why don't we say something that leans into the genre, the comedy, and where we're going with this. So bright room with plenty of Valentine's decorations on the wall. Now we know what time of year it is, and we know everybody's, looking for that special someone, perhaps. And, we can imagine like the hearts on the wall and all of the different, construction paper designs, etc. It paints the picture a little more clearly. So let's set the stage that this is kind of like the Valentine's Day luncheon. So seniors sit, okay, let's go a little further. Tables are decorated, or tables feature centerpieces of, it's a nice building, so they won't have the fake flowers, even though some of the senior buildings do, of floral arrangements and heart balloons. So now we can see like where we are and what's going on a little bit more. Let's get our spelling right as we go. Okay. There we go. And now we're moving on to the next part of the story where it's like some social dynamics that mimic a high school cafeteria. So seniors sit, we can leave some of this language. Seniors sit at various tables that harken back to awkward high school cafeteria arrangements. Social dynamic social status. We'll fix that some more. Social dynamics, we'll leave that. And I'll just put popular kids, jocks, geeks, drama nerds, etc. Outcast, etc. There we go. So hair and makeup can paint the picture with costumes that kind of reflect these dynamics, but that's a better description than what we had there and a little more simplified. Okay. At the popular table, Jessica plays cards with her friends. She is a gorgeous woman with manicured nails and a larger than life personality. This description could use some help. So let's think about this. Maybe she is, she still possesses her prom queen looks, and her smooth skin is courtesy of an expensive, or maybe we could say her smooth skin is courtesy of Botox and fillers. And I'll go a step further. Ageless skin is courtesy of Botox and fillers. Jessica's Jessica has dyed her hair for so long that she forgot. Maybe we can go with that. I actually knew someone who uh, she never even let one part of her white roots show when she did her hair color, but we'll we'll go into that a little bit. Jessica's hair dye is salon perfect, and she is often mistaken, and she has the body of a 30-year-old. Okay, so Jessica is, we've painted the picture of, she's this gorgeous, sexy singer, but we kind of took out those on the nose descriptions there. So we have Jessica. All right. And now we have Frida, who enters and makes her way to the drama nerd table. Let's change the description a little bit. She gives off hippie vibes with colorful handmade jewelry and flowing gray hair that she hasn't cut in over a decade. So this paints a picture of what Frida looks like. So she's very different from Jessica. Okay, so both women are described a little bit better than what we had before. Just to delete the old description, we have pieces of that, but this is much richer. So now let's delete that part and move on to Jessica glares at Frida from across the room. Clearly the women have it in for each other. That's a bit, we can find a better way to explain this dynamic, maybe a more creative way too. So Jessica is our main character so far. We've established her first. So Jessica looks up from her playing cards as Frida passes by. So that's a visual. You can almost imagine her eyes watching Frida as Frida moves across the room. Frida, the women stare each other down as if they're in an old spaghetti western. So we've kind of established that kind of dynamic, which could be funny. You could play with the score a bit. But at this point, since we've only seen the exterior of the building and we've only seen that it's Valentine's Day or it's around that time and everybody's in the room, but we don't know why they don't like each other. We don't know what the beef is yet. So let's keep going. Interior senior citizens home, Calvin's room, day. Okay. Calvin is dapper as he puts on his fancy tie and checks out his own reflection. Okay, let's find a way to finesse the Calvin description a little bit better. So Calvin puts on a designer, let's say, adjust his designer necktie. Now we've seen that now, Calvin is stylish. He has a designer necktie in the, okay. He is, he is a, I don't want to say silver fox because that feels like an overused description. So we can come up with let's say he has movie star looks and the charm to match. That's better. Okay? So we've painted the picture that, Calvin is quite the item here. Even at 80 years old, he still got it. You can even add that line. He still got it. And he knows it too. All right. So that kind of paints the picture there. His phone dings with a text message from Jessica. Where are you, sweetheart? Let's have fun with that. Because maybe Jessica sends his phone dings with a text message from Jessica. Where are you, sweetheart? Accompanied by a selfie, like a sexy selfie that she maybe snapped of herself real quick, blowing him a kiss. And we can imagine that she would use like a lot of filters and just the right light to send this message to him. So that's the kind of person that she is. Jessica, she looks years younger with filters and ideal lighting. There we go. So I'll put in the picture. All right, so in here I have he's about to type a reply and then he gets another message. But I want to change that a little bit because we know where the story is going. So as opposed to him typing a reply, maybe he looks as he holds his phone. I don't want to have him reply just yet. Another text comes through. Another text comes through. This is from Frida. Remember, Frida is the artistic one, and we have Cleopatra misses her Mark Anthony. Let's do like some, accompanied by winking emojis. Okay? So we can see now that Calvin is in demand. He's got 2 women texting him. But as opposed to he is overwhelmed as he attempts to message both of them back, let's revisit this and change it to we can take that out altogether because we know what's going to happen in the story, but we don't want to give away too much of the secret sauce. But we know from a story standpoint, if he's moving on from both of these ladies, that he may not be keen on messaging them back. So we'll just delete this altogether. and let the audience go for the ride. That's better. Interior, senior citizens home, main hall day. Aides serve pudding to seniors. So we can upgrade this upgrade this offering because it's a nicer building and all of that stuff. So let's say strawberry, strawberry ice cream to seniors. Aides serve strawberry ice cream to seniors. Jessica and okay, so we have Jessica and Frida look up from their phones and give each other the side eye. Okay, so let's play with that a little bit. Aides serve strawberry ice cream to seniors. That's inside of the Valentine's Day theme. And Jessica's ice cream melts as she continues to, as she holds her phone, awaiting Calvin's reply. We don't know that she's awaiting his reply, but we can put that in there like she's waiting for something. Frida is also messaging him too. So Frida never looks up from her phone as she awaits Calvin's reply. Now, if you want to get into a little bit of dialogue, this could be a moment that we get into some dialogue before Calvin enters the room. So Jessica notices Frida, or finally looks up to see Frida on her phone. Or maybe we can just jump right into Calvin entering. Let's skip that. Let's skip all of that because we don't have to have them show the side eye again. We can skip over that part. That may not move the story forward. Sometimes when you go through the rewriting process, you have to troubleshoot it as you go. Calvin enters. Okay. Let's see. Calvin enters looking dapper in a burgundy suit with a red rose. Okay, so now we see that Calvin has finally arrived. He's looking handsome in his suit, and he has a red rose. I added that detail because that's a nice visual. And we imagine, okay, Jessica and Frida. Let's start with Jessica's. Jessica's eyes light up as he walks into the room. Frida gazes at him. Frida stares. Frida grins at him. So both women are kind of watching him. And in this moment, maybe they're kind of watching him carefully to see where he's going to sit. Meanwhile, Jessica and Frida, this can be the moment where they give each other the side eye and patiently wait to see which table he chooses. Okay, so this is a moment of despair because we haven't shown that Calvin acknowledges either one of these ladies, but we can remove that description. Okay, so maybe we can have a moment where Jessica finger combs her hair while Frida repositions the empty chair next, repositions the empty chair next to her. Okay? So both of them are waiting to see which one he's going to choose. I guess we could put that in the same line. Calvin passes Frida's table first. So this is like kind of another layer of the visual. And of course, Frida is downhearted. So Calvin passes by Frida's table first. We don't have to put first. Calvin passes by Frida's table without acknowledging her. Jessica smiles, reveling in the victory of being his date. Jessica smiles, reveling in, let's be more specific here, or in Frida's rejection. Okay. Jessica touches up her lip gloss as Calvin approaches. He continues. He keeps walking past her and sits at another table next to Sandy, 103. I almost made her 104. Head full of snow white hair. Thick bifocal glasses. Okay. So we've painted the picture of Sandy a little more. And Frida and Jessica are disappointed as Sandy and Calvin hold hands and gaze into each other's eyes. So Jessica makes her way over to Frida's table. I guess we're too young for him. The women share a laugh. But, you know, there's something I don't like about this because that's the only dialogue that I have in this whole script, and it's a little bit on the nose. So I think it might be worth a little more fun and mysterious if we just have Jessica makes her way over to Frida's table and whispers something in her ear. Both women share a laugh. Both women share a laugh. Okay. Fade out. And that is the end. Let's read it again and see if we can see the story, how it flows together. Fade in, exterior, senior citizens home day, a brick building on a city block that mimics a luxury condo. A handful of seniors sit on benches and shoot the breeze. Interior, senior citizens home, main hall. Day, bright room with plenty of Valentine's decorations on the walls. We don't have to say plenty. Bright room with Valentine's Day. Bright room with Valentine's Day decorations on the walls. Tables feature centerpieces of floral arrangements and heart balloons. Okay, little heart balloons. Table centerpieces. Let's just go with that. Table centerpieces of floral arrangements and little heart balloons. Let's start again. Bright room with Valentine's Day decorations on the walls. Table centerpieces of floral arrangements and little heart balloons. Seniors sit at various tables that harken back to high school cafeteria social dynamics to high school's. I deleted awkward, but I'm still trying to figure this one out. Seniors sit at various tables that harken back to high school cafeteria social dynamics. Seniors sit at various tables in a throwback to high school cafeteria dynamics. Social dynamics, we'll leave that. But we'll change that a little bit here. Seniors sit at various tables in a throwback to high school cafeteria social dynamics. Popular kids, jocks, geeks, drama nerds, outcasts, etc. At the popular table, Jessica plays cards with her friends. She still possesses her prom queen looks with angel skin courtesy of Botox and fillers. Jessica's hair dye is salon perfect and she has the body of a 30-year-old. Frida, 78, enters and makes her way to the drama nerd table. She gives off hippie vibes with colorful handmade jewelry and flowing gray hair that she hasn't cut in over a decade. Jessica looks up from her playing cards as Frida passes by. The women stare each other down as if they're in an old spaghetti western. Interior senior citizens home, Calvin's room day. Calvin adjusts his designer necktie. He has movie star looks and the charm to match. He's still got it and he knows it too. His phone dings with a text message from Jessica. Where are you, sweetheart? Accompanied by a sexy selfie of her blowing him a kiss. In the picture, she looks years younger with filters and ideal lighting. Maybe say she looks in the picture, she looks years younger with filters and ideal lighting. We'll leave that. As he holds his phone, another text comes through. This is from Frida. Cleopatra misses her Mark Anthony, accompanied by winking emojis. I'm just going to delete that period after here. Interior senior citizens home, main hall day. Aides serve strawberry ice cream to seniors. Jessica's ice cream melts as she holds her phone, awaiting Calvin's reply. Frida never looks up from her phone as she awaits, I'll just say his reply, as she also awaits his reply. Calvin enters looking dapper in a burgundy suit with a red rose. Jessica's eyes light up as he walks across the room. Let's say that. As he walks across the room. Frida grins at him. Jessica and Frida give each other the side eye and patiently wait to see which table he chooses. Jessica combs her hair while Frida repositions the empty chair next to her. Okay. Calvin passes by Frida's table without acknowledging her. We need to have some kind of reaction from Frida. Frida is downhearted, so we have to show that. Jessica smiles, reveling in Frida's rejection. Jessica touches up her lip gloss as Calvin, it's going to be lipstick because lip gloss, I mean, she's not a teenager, she's a grown woman. Jessica touches up her lipstick as Calvin approaches. That's more fun too because you can have red lipstick, to lean into the Valentine's Day, the romance and all that. He keeps walking past her, or let's say this, he walks right past her and makes a beeline to Sandy, 103, head full of snow white hair and thick bifocal glasses. Frida and Jessica, we'll start off with Jessica and Frida, are disappointed as Sandy and Calvin hold hands and gaze into each other's eyes. Ooh, let's change it. Jessica is disappointed as Frida and Calvin hold hands and gaze into each other's eyes. Okay, now let's add a sentence here. Frida can't help. Frida tries to hold in her laughter. Okay. Okay, let's change the story dynamic a little bit here. Frida tries to hold in her laughter. Okay, and this will give her motivation. Like, she thinks that this is hilarious. She tries to hold in her laughter as she makes her way over to Jessica's table and whispers something in her ear. As she heads both women share a laugh. Okay, that's cool, because now we have a moment where maybe Jessica wasn't going to take the initiative to go over to Frida in the first place, but Frida is a little more lighthearted and both women can share a laugh together. I think that this is a pretty solid foundation for a short script. And we fade out. That's going to be the end. So there it is. Okay, so I really hope that this was helpful. Rewriting can be a challenge, but it doesn't have to be boring. You can always find new ways to discover fun and exciting parts of your story and really elevate it. So in this particular script, we didn't even have dialogue, which I'm starting to enjoy those types of stories more and more. I hope that this was helpful for you, and no matter what you do, keep writing and rewriting. And thank you so much for watching.